everybody, Pankaj here. Welcome to SAP Production Planning Training Session number 2. Ash, could you please confirm if I'm audible enough and you can see my screen?
Yeah, hi Pankaj. You are audible and I can see your screen.
Okay, Ash, thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
So guys, today we will start our session number 2. So before going to our second session, we will quickly recap our last session, what we discussed in our last session. So in our last session, basically we discussed at a very high level about what is ERP and what is SAP, what are the different kind of ERPs available in the market. And then we basically discuss in detail about the SAP different versions or different generation of the SAP, that is SAP R2, R3, SAP ECC and SAP S4HANA. This is the fourth generation where we are now. And in the generation shift, we discuss in very detail what exactly there was in SAP R2, and then what are the different changes happen in the R3, the same way in SAP ECC and in SAP S4HANA, where we at a very high level we discussed like SAP R2 was having a two-tier architecture system, which was having very poor speed and performance, very poor user interface, and very poor integrations with third-party system. So SAP came up with SAP R3 in SAP in 1990s, which is actually having three-tier architecture, where SAP added one separate layer as an application layer for the different programming logics, business logics, and ABAP coding and all that. So ultimately, this application layer helps to reduce the load on the database and it's improved the performance of the systems. So as compared to R2, R3 performance was really good, and this is the product with SAP actually. When launched, SAP got a very big boom and it's created a very big boom in the market. Many companies implemented SAP R3 in their that time in the organization, where SAP added the some improved integrations by using ALI docs, and which ultimately improved the performance. Also, SAP came up with GUI. In R2, there was not the user interface was very poor, so SAP came up with GUI in SAP R3, and then in 2004. SAP switched the third generation from R3 to SAP ECC. So SAP ECC is nothing but your enterprise central component, where SAP came up with plugin interfaces with different kind of modules like SAP SRM, APO, CRM, right? Where SAP actually here we SAP will be able to do the different kind of programmings or some additional logics or advanced logics which are actually required for the planning. This kind of things actually came up with this different kind of modules, and it's very easily we were be able to plug in with our current SAP R3. Also, SAP came up with native business client in this time, where basically user used to log into SAP with the help of GUI screen. Okay, but if user is not in his place and if user want to log in the system without having a GUI logon pad installed, native business client was the option where user will be able to easily log into system through web net, right? So also SAP came up with some additional best practices during this period. And then in 2015 actually, SAP came up with fourth generation, that is SAP S4HANA, and that is what now is a very big boom in the market. SAP came up with first version in 1511, and then 1610, 1709, 1809, 1909 also, and now SAP came up with 2020 also, 2009 also. Okay, so we are actually planning to conduct our training with this latest version. Okay, we do have that license as of with us, so we will be definitely consider come do our training with this version. So this is also having the three-tier architecture system, but SAP actually worked on the database in here in SAP S4HANA. Earlier, we used to have the same traditional database, and because of the database, there were so many restrictions. For that, SAP was having poor speed and performance, and that's the reason SAP were having this kind of different modules. But now SAP S/4HANA is the in-memory database that is very powerful database at a very high level. We discussed like SAP used to reduce the data footprint from 1600 to 8 GB. So ultimately it increased the performance. It's in-memory database is nothing but they used to save the data in the form of charge. Okay, so and here in the traditional database we used to save the data in different tables, and below that we will having some disk and drum device, which is a mechanical device which is called. So as compared to the disk and drum device and all that things, okay, the data response time is very good in the in-memory database. Okay, it's not only HANA or it's not only SAP who is actually working on the in-memory database. There are a couple of companies or a couple of different database which is already having the in-memory database. But SAP work actually at very detailed level. It's not only a in-memory database. Also, SAP looked into the data security point of view and came up with this database. Okay, and that's the reason now SAP S/4HANA is capable to do OLTP as well as OLAP. Okay, and that's why in SAP S/4HANA actually we are able to implement these additional modules what we talked about in SAP ECC as a plugin interface. We SAP is now able to implement the same modules on the same database, and it's called uh, um, you know uh, right now you must heard like on cloud version and inbuilt version or something, right? So here now on the same database SAP is able to pull all the different kind of modules and still the performance is really good. That's what the SAP S/4HANA is. Okay, that's what we discussed in our last session, and then we also discuss some detail about what is SAP S/4HANA, what is Suite on HANA, what is Simple Finance, right? And what is SAP S/4HANA, Simple Finance and Logistics module. Also, we discuss in detail about the sidecar scenario, like many companies implemented sidecar scenario during that period. Also, there was one question what about from one of the participant about the one premises, public cloud and private cloud. We also discussed what is the basic difference in that kind of terminologies, right? And then we discuss about the uh, SAP S/4HANA release and nomenclature. How SAP is actually releasing from 1511 to 1610. Every year SAP actually releasing on-premises version, right? Also, the cloud version SAP used to release quarterly basis. On the cloud version, SAP used to is a feature pack stack actually is called in your on-premises where you SAP used to do the bug fixes or any performance improvement or any new features there in SAP Fiori that will be get implemented in this feature pack stack, right? So we discussed this thing, and there was one, yeah, this is the SAP S/4HANA migration diagram we looked into, like how SAP started journey with 2015 and into what was the SAP's expectation actually with this SAP S/4HANA, the market. This was the diagram actually, this was the expected diagram by the SAP that time, and SAP was planning to end the SAP ECC support by 2025. So SAP actually recommending to all the clients or all the companies to implement SAP S/4HANA or get migrate from ECC to SAP S/4HANA. That's the reason SAP has declared this kind of date, like from 2025 they are supposed to end for their support. Hence SAP is actually expecting that all the clients which whoever are actually working on SAP ECC, they should get migrate to SAP S/4HANA. That was the reason behind that. That was not fixed date. That's what we discuss also. So till date, actually, we discuss at a very high level about SAP, what is SAP, what is SAP S/4HANA, and this thing. And then we stopped till that, and we were discussed like in the next session, we will discuss in detail about our module specific things. So now I'll pause here for a minute to know if you have any kind of question on our last session before going ahead. You can unmute and you can ask the question before moving ahead. Okay. No questions on the last session on the basic SAP S/4HANA or basic SAP?
This Vishwajit.
Yeah, Vishwa.
Sorry, I didn't attend the last session, but
Mhm.
just wanted to know this is S4 HANA 2020 you are going to cover for the PP module,
Yes,
or it's
yes,
2019?
definitely. Yes. So it's basically what happened. We were having 1909 version as of now. Okay, but today only I got a this note from our support team, like we got the new version. Okay, that is recently released. So
Yeah,
maybe
they
I'll
have the
get.
2020 system
Yes,
ready, I think
yes,
now.
yes, yes. So I just got the message. That's why I'm saying earlier
Mhm.
we were last training also we conducted on 1909. Okay, and I was supposed to do the same 1909, but today I got a message like we have already new version 2020 available. So definitely we will use 2020 version for the training end-to-end course.
Thanks.
Okay. Even I haven't explored what is there, what are the additional features. Okay, that I'll definitely explore. Majorly, SAP came up with additional applications. They have done so many changes in the current applications. Okay, and definitely the application name and these things are exactly same. So that will be really helpful for us during this training, right?
Yeah, I think there is predictive MRP or something in your
Yeah,
area.
PMRP already SAP launched in the 1909, and we already covered that topic in our, we actually plan to have a two different training sessions here. First part is a very basic training, basic PP, and second one is the advanced training. So we will be covering predictive MRP, DDMRP, these scenarios in the advanced training. Okay, so you can go to the curriculum, you can get what exactly we are going to cover in first month and what we are going to cover in the second month. In the second month, basically, we will be covering our advanced topic, PMRP, DDMRP, PPDS, and even MRP live and all that part with Fury applications.
Yeah,
Okay.
but all are the course part of same course,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. All the
Okay.
card. This is continuous course. Only we by divided in two different sessions. Those who just want to have only basic production planning training, they can attend that course. You can get more information from the our support team. You can WhatsApp them or you can have a call with them. Okay, they will definitely discuss you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Then so quickly we will move ahead to our next topic. So till this point, what we discussed, what is SAP, what is SAP ERP, what is SAP ECC, what is SAP RT. So basic about the SAP. Now we will discuss the basic about production planning module. Okay, and then slowly we will start configuring this production planning module in the system, and we will try to run end-to-end cycles. Okay, so if you discuss what are the different kind of modules available, the basic modules available, that we will discuss first. Okay. So normally I used to draw this diagram many times. Okay. In our first session when we did our uh, demo, that time also I created this diagram to understand the better understanding for you. Okay. So let's say this is my production company where I do have, let's say, one storage location. Then I do have, let's say, only one production line. Just talk about only one production line. And I do have one more finished material storage location. The same way, we have one customer, we have one vendor, right? I'll put the name quickly. It's a vendor. Let's say it's a raw material storage location. So I'll put it RM01. This is my production line, right? Production line one, or let's say production line, that is fine. This is my FG location and this is my customer. Okay. And we know like how end-to-end cycle happens, any logistic cycle happens. It's like customer used to come to the production department. I'll put one department here also additionally so that it will be more understanding, so that we will understand the different modules also with this help. Okay, so what I'll do, okay, I'll keep this downside is getting disturbing. Raise. Okay, that's fine. So there is let's say here is the sales department. Okay, we do have one production department who takes care about all production activities. So I'll give the name of production department. Also, we do have one additional department like is procurement department. The same way HR department and these things, these are available. Okay, so I'm just talking about the main, I'm main targeting about the manufacturing and these things so that you will understand the different kind of modules, how it is integrated. So normally customer used to come to the sales department about the requirement, right? Based on the stock available or not, we have a planning run, MRP run. We used to check the stock. If stock is not available, then system will go and create the production plan, right? Then the same way it will explode the bomb. We discuss in our demo session how MRP work. Definitely we'll discuss in very detail, okay, in incoming session. It check the stock whether raw material is available. If not, it will go to the procurement department and system propose the PR, purchase requisitions, which will be converted by the procurement department to the purchase order. It will get sent to the vendor. So it's a vendor responsibility to send the material on right time. They will send the material, right? Then once raw material is available, we will issue this material to the production line. Normally we used to issue it, okay? And with that material, production line will create the finished material. And finally, we will sell this finished material to the customer, okay? Just a minute. So this is a very high level logistic cycle, okay? That's how it works. Now, if you see here, what are the different kind of modules getting integrated? If you are talking about the production planning, so this is the only part, right, where production planning or PP module or PP people actually working, right? So I'll put this. So what about then these things? So if you see here, there is one more part that is the, oh, sorry. If you see this, there is a part of this is called your sales department, right? And this is this one of the additional part or separate part, which is actually taken care about the procurement and all that things, right? So if you try to identify from the SAP side, we do have a different kind of modules like sales and distribution that will be get interlinked with this part, right? Who takes care about the customer master records and this thing. At the same time, we do have logistics execution also. Yeah, I'm putting it as a logistic execution. From the production side, we can have a PP module, right? Production planning, as well as we can have a QM module, quality management. When I'm manufacturing or something, I need to take care about the quality management and these things. Also, we can have a plant maintenance module also, right? So I'm putting it as a PM. And then if you are going to the next part, you can see in the procurement side, we can have a materials management module, right? Also, if you talk about at a very detailed level and if you are trying to go, we have a warehouse management module also, right? WM. Now, these are the very basic module actually SAP used to have. We used to implement this thing in the basic ECC, right? Nowadays, when ECC was there, we also seen in our last session, there were so many constraint about the database. And if the business or if the client is asking for some advanced kind of planning functionalities, SAP was not able to put that kind of plannings in the same box or on the same server, right? And that's the reason SAP came up with some additional plugin interface modules, right? It's called, let's say, I'm just giving an example for APO. APO is one of the plugin interface, right? If we are talking about the PP, we are the PP people, okay? So we are actually going to talk about production planning. So in SAP ECC time, SAP said, okay, business is looking for some kind of advanced planning and that is not able to do it in SAP R3. So there is one additional module. It's a plugin module that we can implement as a APO. Nowadays, SAP S4HANA came and SAP S4HANA is saying, okay, we do have very good database, right? So you no need to have a separate box for the APO. You can implement this functionality within the same box. That's why now SAP is saying, okay, if you want to implement these additional functionalities, you can go and implement IBP. integrated business planning module, right? Within IBP, you do have all the facilities available like PPDS, supply chain network planning, GATP. Now it has been changed to AATP rather, right? So there are so many advanced functions and features that SAP added in this IBP module. The same way, if you are talking about sales distribution and this thing, SAP was saying, okay, in ECC, we have a the constraint for the database. If you are working on SAP ECC, you can go and implement CRM, customer relationship management module separately, right? Because we don't have a proper database available within the SAP. But if you are working with SAP S4 HANA, or you are going to, migrate from SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA, we do have a separate module. What is that? Anyone idea? Hybris. This is the advanced
C4C.
module. Yes.
C4C. Cloud service.
C4C. Yes, that's right. C4C is also there. I'll put here like this. It's a part of Hybris. Okay. I'll put C4C like this. The same way, if you are talking about the logistic execution, I'll just add these arrows. Okay. If you are talking about logistic execution, SAP is saying, okay, now logistic execution was there in ECC, but we do have some additional functionalities available in SAP S/4HANA, and it's a transportation management. You can implement that functionality also by using this module. Okay. Also, the same way, if you are talking about materials management, now materials management in SAP S/4HANA is called as a sourcing and procurement model, right? If you want to have some additional functions and features that is not possible in SAP ECC, we do have some different modules. What is that? Ariba. We do have Ariba, you can definitely implement and go ahead. Now, the beauty of this SAP S/4HANA is, in earlier time in ECC, we used to purchase a separate hardware or software or separate box for that, right? Separate database for that. Now in SAP S/4HANA, you no need to go for the separate box. You can easily implement that on the same box what is there, right?
Hi, this is Pavan.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think
Go ahead.
so. MM is Ariba, WM is having with EWM, like I believe.
EWM. Yes, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry. I added with WM. I'm sorry for that. That's good.
Thank
Okay. I'll put like this. And you are right. Okay. In WM, we do have EWM module available. Correct. So if you see at a very high level, the module and working structure and your company is still same, right? The way of working with SAP R3, with SAP ECC, this is SAP R3 I'm talking about, okay? This selected line. This is SAP ECC I'm talking about, right? It's a this thing, central component. And this is now SAP S/4HANA. The way of working and these things are exactly same. Only the beauty is, if you are working with this part, if you are implementing this module, you no need to go ahead and purchase the separate box for that. You can implement all the modules on the same box, and that is the beauty of SAP S/4HANA now, right? Also, in the reporting side, if you can see, we still do have some modules like BI, right? Business intelligence, then BW, BobJ, BW, these modules are available, right? Earlier, when SAP ECC or SAP without SAP S/4HANA, you used to purchase a separate box for that BW. We used to pull the data in this session where I guess here we discussed, like we used to have a SLT module, pull the data from your database to HANA database, and then go for the reporting. If you are directly using this database for the reporting, it will give very low performance, right? So that is the thing. Now here these modules are still as it is, okay, BIBW, but you can implement, it's called embedded. You can implement BW embedded, right, on the same database. The same way, if you are talking about some technical module like ABAP, this module is as it is, okay, but the way of working with this module has been changed. Why? Because SAP has changed whole database. Ultimately, SAP changed the whole programming and logic. For that, now SAP, when the people like the table structure and everything has been changed in the SAP S/4HANA, right? So let's talk about a very simple example. Like let's say I want to get some report, and I want to develop one report for the stock, right? So when we are writing a functional specification, we definitely used to say, okay, MARD table is there. You can pull the data from MARD and you can show the stock. Now, why what SAP is saying, okay, MARD is table there. Also, I'm having a MSEC table there, where also the same data I'm showing, right? Plus minus everything is there. Then why there is a separate module for MARD? In ECC, we do have a separate different table for that, right? But now in SAP S/4HANA, although these tables are available, the data will be saved in only one table, and that is AC doc table. SAP has reduced the footprint, right? And on top of that, now if ABAPer is trying to do the coding, he can simply go to AC doc table and get the data and populate the stock, right? But earlier in ECC, we do have a separate table. What SAP, we do have a MSEC table as well as MART table also. Why? Because in MSEC table, you can have so many entries, thousands or millions of entries at a time in the system, okay? And the problem is when you are trying to pull the data from that table, it gives a very big performance issue, right? To get the data, so many data entries over there, and from that you need to pull the data, do the calculation and saying, okay, today's stock is this much. Let's talk an example. I'm having one material and I'm using in SAP last 10 years, okay? From 10 years, I'm continuously purchasing the material. So in MSEC document, there are so many documents for purchasing, goods issue every day, right? So if you check for that material, there are millions of documents lying in the same table. If I want to see what is today's stock, I need to go to that table, append the table, read each and every line, each and every document, do the calculation, and then I can come up, okay, today's stock is this much. Now in ECC, that was very hectic job. So what SAP said, okay, for that we will have a separate table. It's called MARD, where at a very high level, SAP used to do the calculation and put the stock like last 3 months, 6 months, like that way. And whenever ABAP is querying the table, instead of going to MSEC table, SAP is saying, okay, ABAP, you can go and query the MARD table and pull the data. So that was happening in SAP ECC. Now in SAP S/4HANA, SAP is saying, okay, you no need to go to MARD table. You can directly go to, there is only one single source of truth, right? That is ACDoc. We will definitely discuss in very detail how that ACDoc tables and these are integrated, but that will be in the advance. But I just want to tell you, these modules are still there, but the way of working is now changed, right? Also basis, right? You can easily identify like SAP has changed whole database, right? That means definitely from basic side and security side, there are so many changes because now you are having different kind of applications, right? Now we do have a separate consultant for the Fury, right? Fury consultant we used to call. So these modules are still there. Way of working is still there. Okay, way of working is still exactly the same, but in the backend now SAP is working something differently, and for that SAP is now recommending instead of using these modules, okay, you can go and implement SAP S/4HANA this module and start working. It's not that different, okay? If you are going for the PP module, earlier, now we will definitely discuss in PP module, earlier the master data and right now master data is exactly same, but SAP did the simplifications. Okay, for S/4HANA in SAP PP, now due to the simplification, some of the transactions has been changed. Like in the earlier, those who know how the already who are working on SAP, they know like we are using MB1B, 1B, 1A for the material movements transaction. Now this transaction code has been absolute. Now there is only one single source of truth or single transaction code available, that is MIGO. Now, if I want to do the stock transfer from one store to other store by Migo, also I want to do the goods issue from by the same transaction code to the production order, then the backend coding must have been changed, right? And that's what now the new things in the SAP S/4HANA. You can now here at this level, you can see at least you just try to visualize, okay, the modules and these things, how it has been interlinked with each other. What are the different kind of modules? Same modules now we are available in SAP S/4HANA. Although if you are not implementing IBP, you are not implementing APO, you can implement SAP PP on SAP S/4HANA definitely, right? But the way of working of this module as compared to ECC has been changed. And that's what now actually we are going to discuss in detail in our training session. Okay. In our first part, definitely we will run basic cycles. It will be on the SAP S/4HANA server. We will try to understand the things, what is the difference in SAP S/4HANA and ECC also for each and every point, each and every transaction. Okay. Okay, guys, I'll take a pause here. Okay, to know if you have any kind of question on this part before moving. Any questions? Okay, I'll quickly go to the next topic here. Okay, we will discuss the logistics end-to-end process flow. The same diagram. Okay, to I have already copied that diagram, put it here instead of creating the again and again. But I just want to show a little deep dive with this logistic flow. We created the same diagram in earlier stage also, and I have created this diagram with some different colors of lines that we need to understand what is that. And for each color of line, maybe we will having a separate scenario, maybe we will having a separate transaction in SAP. We will be now discussing majorly on the production planning part. Okay, the same way I have created 3 different production lines. This is my production plant. Okay, where I'm having 3 different production lines. I'm having one vendor, I'm having one customer. It could be multiple, but for the understanding purpose, I have created only one. Now, the first topic or first step, what we discussed, like customer is coming as a requirement with the sales department. In SAP, we do run material requirement planning. It's not only in SAP, in any ERP, we used to do the material requirement planning. We used to check what is the customer demand, what is the enhanced stock, what is the incoming production line that is supposed to produce the material. Based on that, system used to do the net requirement calculation, right? Let's say the requirement is for 1000, I'm having already 500 in hand, and 200 I'm already producing. So 500 plus 200, 700. So shortages is 300. So system do the net requirement calculation and gives the independent requirement to the production department for 300. It's called independent requirement. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I'll create a different color for that so that it will be easy to understand. Okay, it will create the independent requirement. Then the same thing will happen. So at a production line, system will check what is the enhanced stock, what is the line 200. It will go explode the bomb, right? And it will check, okay, to produce 300, how much raw material required, right? The same way it will check, okay, what is the enhanced stock. Now let's say to produce 300 finish, I need a 300 of raw material quantity. Then system will say, okay, we need to purchase a 300, but we do have already stock of 100. That means there is a shortages of 200. Then MRP run will create the dependent requirement, same kind of dependent requirement for the raw material. Okay, saying, hey, I need 200 to get purchase from the vendor and propose the purchase requisition. Okay, this is nothing but my purchase requisition. I'll create some different color for that. Now, if you try to see here, or if you try to put the things here, first one part, this is nothing but my sales order, or in SME terminology, I'll say it's a demand for the production. This is my red color. Now, I'll give here as this color. What is this? This is nothing but my fulfillment, net requirement fulfillment, right? But in SAP terminology, I can see it is independent requirement. Okay, so based on the bill of material structure, it used to explode the bomb and create this kind of dependent requirements below. So I'm not saying here plan independent requirement. If I'm not having this customer forecast, I can create my own plan that is called plan independent requirement. Okay, so I'm just putting here as an independent requirement. In detail, when we go, we will see what is the dependent, what is the plan independent requirement in details. Now, it went to the customer as a PR. Now, vendor is supplying the raw material to me. This is the black color. What is the meaning of that? Vendor is supplying the raw material to me, but in SAP, what we used to do, we used to do goods receipt, right? Goods, I'll put GR, goods receipt against PO, because procurement department for a 200 shortages create the purchase order to vendor. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll put this color also. Okay, here additional. We'll start this now. Oh, sorry. System has identified the shortages, right? And propose the purchase requisitions. Procurement department has created the purchase requisition to PO and send it to the vendor, right? This is nothing but my purchase order, right? Once purchase order is with vendor, vendor used to fulfill that purchase order by sending the material. And now we need to do the goods receipt against that purchase order. In SAP, we used to call it as a goods receipt because ultimately we are increasing our stock and value. Now, once stock is there, what is next? Production people will come to know, okay, stock is there. They will check the material availability while releasing the production order. When they are releasing the production order, system automatically go and checks the raw material stock is available. If not, it will give the message, hey, raw material is not available. If you want to release, you can still release it. Now, when I'm releasing the production order, we need to, maybe we are storing all the material at main store. It has to send to the production line, right? So this blue color, green color is nothing but you are transferring the stock from main store to the production storage location. So it's called stock transfer in SAP from store to store. I'm saying, okay. Once stock is there, what is next? We need to start our production and consume the stock from this line, this store to the production line. Let's say at this line, I'm having 100 pieces available, but today I have manufactured only 50 pieces. That means we need to consume the stock of 50 and get finished material of 50 out. So still 50 will be available. So this line is nothing but your stock consumption. I'll put here like this is nothing but consumption against production order, right? We are consuming the stock. So ultimately system will create, let's say at 9 o'clock in the morning, we consume the stock, but we haven't given any output till 3 o'clock. So the consumed stock will be create a WIP, right? You must have heard this kind of terminology like what is my WIP? That means the material is in the production line, but still finished material is not out. So system will say, okay, 50 pieces is in the WIP. The value of that 50 pieces could be $5,000. So $5,000 is my right now WIP. At the shipped end, we came to know, okay, material has been produced. So this is the line. In SAP, we used to call goods, again, GR, goods receipt. I'll put it here, small. Goods receipt against production order now. If you see here, this goods receipt and this good receipt are exactly the same. This is also good receipt, but this is the good receipt of raw material from PO. This is the good receipt of your finished material against production order to get stock at FG location, right? Then you may need to transfer, like let's say we are manufacturing some boiler, okay? It's a boiler production line. We issued the raw material to line. We manufacture the boiler here. Now I want to send or supply or ship it to the customer, but I cannot ship from my production storage location since it's a very big. I need to transfer this boiler to my dispatch location, and from where we can load it and in the truck and give it to the customer. So again, what we need to do, we need to transfer this material from here to here. So the same line color I have created here is nothing but stock transfer, but here we transfer the stock of raw material. Here we are transferring the stock of finished material. So this line is again the stock transfer from store to store, this store to this store. And finally, against the sales order, we used to do the shipment, right? So this is nothing but post goods issued to the customer. So I'll put this at a very this thing for goods issue, I can say. Okay, I'll put goods issue against now sales order. Now you can try to correlate the things. Customer send the sales order, right? For that sales order, we manufacture the material and keep it here. Now, when I'm reducing the inventory from my plant, this is my plant. That means I am issuing the material to the customer. That's why I'm saying here goods issue. Okay. But if you see here, we requested vendor to send some raw material. When vendor is sending the raw material to my factory, I'm doing goods receipt. So it's same like the, you can say it's like a bank debit credit. If you see here, that will be very easy to understand. When you are issuing the material to the production line, that means you are reducing the stock. At the same time, you are getting finished material out from the line. That means good receipt against production order. But the people who are sitting here, the people, let's say there is a store manager, the store person, FG3 store person who is sitting here, it will be a good receipt for him, right? He is receiving the material. Here, the person who is sitting at RM3, he is issuing the material to the production line. But the person who is sitting at production department, when he is asking the material to get from here, it will be the good receipt for him, right? The person who is sitting at the production, he is going to the store and getting the material from the store. So ultimately he is receiving the raw material, right? But the terminology should be considered with respect to the person who is sitting at the store, because the inventory is always at a store. We are maintaining the inventory at a store location. When I am pulling the inventory out, it will be the goods issue. When I am putting the inventory at a store, it will be the goods receipt. Hence, vendor is sending material, it will be the good receipt. When I am issuing, sending the material from store to the production line, that means I am issuing the material. The same way, when production line is producing the material and giving back to the store, that means good receipt against production order. Okay. Then I am transferring the material from here to here. Now, in this case, I'm not reducing any inventory. I am just replacing the inventory from here to my dispatch location. So it is not a goods issue or goods issue. Okay. People always get confused here many times when they will say, okay, I'm issuing the material to the my supply location. It's not a goods issue. You are transferring the material. You are not, when you are saying issuing, that means you are reducing the inventory. You are reducing the value. In this case, you are not reducing the value. You are just transferring the value from here to here. Hence, we used to call it as a stock transfer from store to store. Now, when I am sending this material out to the customer, that means in this factory, within this factory, I am reducing my inventory and giving it somewhere. So when I'm sending it inventory against to the sales customer, we should have some reference document for that. And that is nothing but my demand or sales order. So it will be the goods issue against sales order. Guys, you are able to follow me what are the goods issue and good receipt, because these things anyway we will directly start working in the system. Okay, that time I'll always say, okay, I'm doing goods issue, we are doing good receipt. You should follow it. Maybe you are already working on a SAP or any ERP system, you must know, but this is a very basic, like crafted course. I'm not sure, in our session we might have some engineering fresh graduate and these things, the people who are actually new to SAP or sometimes new to the industry, to let them understand. I am intentionally explaining this thing. Any questions on that part? Goods issue, goods receipt? Anyone can unmute and ask the question. Okay, so now you are very clear. Like there is a production plant. In that plant, these kind of things are happening, and for that, these kind of transactions are happening at a very high level. Okay. Now what we will do? Now we will jump to our proper production planning module, and we'll try to see, to map my production planning module, what are the different things that we need to do it there. Okay. Any questions, guys? Before going ahead, I just want to know. Okay, no problem. What we will do, we will move ahead. with the production planning. Anyone know what is the production planning master data? Once we are okay with master data, then I'll try to map the same things here, and then we will correlate this thing with this diagram. Anyone? Production planning master data, can unmute and tell me. Those who know, who already work. Okay. So in production planning, basically we do have 5 kind of master data. Okay. What is that? The first is material master. So what I'll do, I'll put here like this, material master. Within the material master also, we do have different kind of materials, right? We do have finished materials, that what we are actually manufacturing, right? Then we can have a semi-finished material. It could be in transit, or we are manufacturing, keeping it in a store, and then from that semi-finish we are manufacturing finished material, right? And also we do have a raw material, which actually we are purchasing from the vendor. Raw materials. Okay. So this is nothing but my master data, material master data, where we used to create the materials in the system. For material related, all material related information will be saved with this material master. Material master is not a single module responsibility, guys. The production planning people will be maintain the production related information for that material. The purchasing people or purchasing module people or consultant used to maintain the material master MRP, procurement related data for that material. So, and the same way we do have accounting view. There are different kind of views available. We will discuss when we'll jump into the system and start creating the material master, right? Where in the accounting view, finance people will maintain the data. So it's all about different kind of materials and different kind of material types will be fall under material master. So what I'll do, I'll say here, this is my material master. This is my main master data. First master data, I'll say here, material master. Okay. Once we are done with material master creation, we need to marry this. Which raw material is used to manufacture this, which semi-finish? We may have thousands of raw material available. We may have different hundreds of semi-finish, and we may have 10 different finished product, right? That we are manufacturing. To manufacture finished product, which semi-finish and raw materials are required, that we need to do the marry. And that is nothing but, any idea?
Production bomb.
Bomb, correct. Bill of material. Where for finished material, if I'm manufacturing the material, if I'm manufacturing material, I need to have a bill of material for that, right? What in our manufacturing company, we used to purchase raw material. We used to manufacture semi-finished material. So semi-finished material and finished material will have a bill of material here. For semi-finished material and finished material, we need to create a bill of material. The same way, when I'm manufacturing this material, I do have a bill of material. Also, I do have a manufacturing process for that, right? And this is nothing but my routing. Routing is nothing but step-by-step manufacturing process. Okay, we will discuss each and every master data, okay, in detail once we will move. But at a very high level, I was trying to explain how production cycle works so that you will be understand. Okay, now if I'm manufacturing this and these things, I need to have a bill of material for that. The same way, for each finish and semi-finished material, we need to have a routing. Routing is nothing but my step-by-step manufacturing process. For raw material, we no need to create a bill of material because we are manufacturing, purchasing from outside. Also, we no need to create a routing because I'm not manufacturing that material, right? Now, after that, the very important thing that is required is production version. before going to production version, when I'm saying I do have this finished material and semi-finished material, and this is my bill of material, that is fine for me. When I'm saying, okay, this is my finished material and semi-finished material, and this is the routing, means production manufacturing process. To create a routing in the system, we need to have work center. Work center is nothing but what we were talking about here is the production line. There could be a production line, there could be a different work center. From one work center product is going to next work center and it's creating. So the one work center to next work center is going, that we will define it in the routing. So we need to have work center. We need to create the work center in the system. Okay. So what we were discussing, to create a routing, we should have a work center available, right? Then once BOM and routing is created in the system, with this work center, we will create a routing. With these materials, we will create a BOM. So routing is combination of your material plus work center. Then we need to create production version by combining this BOM and this routing. I'll just give you explanation why we need to have a production version. So production version is nothing but it will tell us for this specific production line or for this specific production order, which BOM and which routing need to choose. There could be chances I do have a finished material, okay, but I do have alternative bill of material available. I can use A, B, C product. Also, I can use A, B, and D product also to manufacture it. So I have alternative BOM. Or you must have seen in the routing, I can produce the material at this one line, as well as I can have a separate line where also I can produce the same material. But maybe the rate of manufacture, let's say I'm having two production lines, as we said here, I do have two production line, and same finished material I can produce this line as well as this line. Maybe at this line my production rate is little slow, and in this line is very high tech or automatic line where I can my production rate is very high. So I cannot create only one routing for both the line, because the production rate, the production manufacturing quantity per day output is different for that. So I can have a multiple routing also. Now if you see here, if let's say I'll just give you one small example so that you will understand. For one material I have BOM 1, okay, I'll just put here BOM 1. Also I'm having BOM 2, okay, alternative BOM. I can use some different product and I can manufacture the same one. Same way I'm having routing 1, okay, I'll put here routing 1. Same finished material I'm talking about. Also I'm having routing 2. Routing 2. Now when production, I'm supposed to start my production as a planner. The production planner will never know like which BOM need to use, which raw material need to use, and which line I need to start, right? To get this clarity to the production person, okay, what we used to create different production version. We can use this BOM and this routing and can start production version. So what I'll do, I'll just put it here. Let's say production version 1, where I can use first BOM and first routing. Then I may have production version 2, where I can still use first BOM, okay, but I can change the line. That means second routing. Same way, I can have third production version, where I can use second bill of material and first line, right? The same way, I can have production version 4, where I can use second BOM and second routing. So I have, if I'm having two alternative BOM and two routing for one finished product, I have this many combinations. Now in the planning, system will choose this automatically when I'm doing automatic MRP run in the backend. But let's say now this line earlier, now when we implemented SAP that time, we used to have this BOM as a primary BOM, okay, and this routing as a primary routing. Just take an example, okay. when we implemented. Now after that, the second bomb came, second routing came, we created the different kind of production version. But based on implementation, this is my primary production version. So whenever we will do the production planning, we are telling system, hey, automatically choose this bomb and this routing. But let's say after 2 years or 5 years down the line, we came to know now this material which we are purchasing from the outside is now at very high cost. And we do have alternative bomb, the same material, same quality of material we are getting at a very low cost. So this should be the prime now. And this machine what we were using is not now that much, but this machine is very high tech. So we should use this bomb and this routing for the automatic primary planning. Now we need to tell system somewhere, hey, earlier we used to have this production version in the production planning MRP run automatically selecting this, but now I want system to choose this one. If you have not created this kind of production version, you will not be able to do the configuration for that production version, or you will not be able to tell system which is the primary production version automatically select. And that's why actually this kind of production version is very important. In SAP ECC, okay, if you are working with one bomb and one routing, it's not mandatory to create a production version. In the algorithm system used to check different kind of coding logic where system is saying, okay, for this material there is only one bomb and there is only one routing, so no need to worry, just choose this bomb and this routing and go ahead. But now in SAP S/4HANA, this is the mandatory part. Okay, although you are having only one bomb and only one routing, you have to create the production version. This is the mandatory step in SAP S/4HANA. We will discuss when we will go to the master data in detail why it is mandatory. Actually is because of the sourcing logic that SAP has created additionally in the backend. It's not only because of the production planning. Okay, it's because of something else. So this is the production version. This is the major master data. Now guys, I'll just remove it. If you go ahead, this is typically PP master data: material master, bill of material, routing, work center, and production version. Now I'll put some transaction codes also for you here so that you can, how we used to create a material master in system in SAP. It's MM01. MM01 is a transaction code by which you can create all the materials, right? To create bill of material, we have CS01. To create routing, we have CA01. To create work center, it's CR01. You don't need to remind, you will get used to with this transaction code. And to create the production version, we have C223. Or you can go to MM02. So here MM0101, wherever you see in SAP, majorly it's for it's called create transactions. Okay, wherever there is a 02. Now if you want to change the material master, you can go to MM02 and change it. If you want to just display, you can do MM03 and display. So these are the basic transaction codes, right? At a very high level. Now I'll go ahead and I'll just give you a little bit more on the master data itself. If this is the PP master data, and then how other master data will get integrated with us, that I'll discuss. Okay, when I'm creating the work center, I'll create a different color for that. Okay, we need to have, I'll give some different color so that you can understand what is the mandatory thing that we need in the master data. That is cost center. So to create a work center, you need to have a cost center. Okay, to create a cost center, once you are done with cost center, why it is actually required, that I'll discuss. I'll try to give you some more detail. When you are saying I'm creating a routing with the help of this work center, we need to tell them what is the operation description and what are the different activities that you are going to perform with this work center. Like there is a machining activity, there is a labor activity, there is something else, so that system will be able to pull the cost of that activity and put it in that production version. That production version will go to the production order, so that the production order, we will be able to find out what is the plan cost of that production order and what is the actual. To very high level, let's say as per plan, to manufacture one product I need a 10 minute of time, but in actual Maybe due to some problems, it took 15 minutes. That means to complete this production line, I use 5 minutes extra. Ultimately, 5 minutes extra labor hours use, ultimately 5 minutes extra machine run. That means the plan cost of that finished product will be, let's say, $10. But due to this extra issue, the actual cost could get, let's say, $15, right? So that's how we need to do the calculation. To do this, cost center is the mandatory thing that has to be there. Also, for a cost center, we have to define different activity types. Okay, this is not PP master data, but anyway, when we are running our whole cycle, we will see all the integration points. Okay, how to create and all that thing. So we need to create the activity types. Activity type could be like setup activity, machine activity, labor activity, power activity, consumption, whatever. Okay, based on the business scenario, we need to. So as per standard SAP says, okay, activity setup, machine, labor are the standard word that you can use. But somewhere business saying, hey, it's a continuous production. I don't know, I no need to do the setup. So it's just a production line and continuously running line. So you can say it's a machine activity or processing activity. That's how you can put the activity. And for that activity, you need to tell system for 1 hour in this cost center, what is the cost for that activity, right? I can say it's activity price planning. Now you can correlate the things. I'm sorry, I'll just make this little small. If I'm having a setup or let's say machine activity, here we need to tell system, okay, for this activity per hour cost with respect to this work center is $10. So when I'll consume this activity in the confirmation saying I use 10 minutes per minute, let's say $1. So it should be $10 should get to your production order, right? Now the same activity I can use in another routing. That's what we discussed. Another routing means another machine. But at that work center, the rate of that activity could be different. Hence, we need to have a separate cost center for that separate production line or separate work center. The same, this is cost center 1 for this work center, cost center 2 for cost center work center 2, and we will have a separate price planning for that. I'll just give you an example. Let's say this is work center 1. Okay, we have same kind of work center available somewhere at a separate line, and I'm using same machine activity. Activity is same, this activity is same, but at this machine the rate of that activity is something different. So what we need to create, we need to create cost center 2 for it, right? And in the price planning, when you are doing this price planning, you need to tell them, okay, for this cost center the activity rate is 20 per minute, here 10. So when you are creating a routing with this work center, only $10 will get allocated to your order. But when you are creating a routing with this work center, it will check the price planning and it will allocate $20. That's what we need to do. This is totally controlling master data, guys, but we need to understand. Okay, so these are the main things. Now we need to assign this cost center to the work center. So when you are creating work center, you need to have a cost center available. Now what else we required? If you see here, I'm able to capture the activity cost now in the routing. How you will be able to capture the raw material cost? Because there is a raw material value that plus your activity cost is equal to your production cost. It's very simple. It's very clear understanding. Like to produce one material, I need a raw material of $100. I need an activity of $50. Hence, my production line or production order cost is 150. Right? To get this raw material cost, what we required? We actually required the GL accounts. Okay, I'll put here GL account. Then you will come to know how that GL accounts also get integrated. And putting here it as GL accounts. Okay, I'll put little this thing. Oh, sorry. What happened? I'll put it here. Now, guys, when I'm saying this activity types has been created, we need to get, transfer this activity types to your costing, right? Through different GL accounts. So what we used to create here, we used to create two types of GL accounts. One is nothing but the cost element. The GL account will be considered as the cost element. One is secondary cost element, primary cost element, and secondary cost element. I'll just explain you cost element. Okay, just a minute, so that you will understand. Oh. Secondary cost element, I'm putting it here, and I'll put primary cost element downline so that we need to define the GL account as a cost element, as a secondary and primary. Primary is nothing but your direct cost. Direct cost is nothing but your raw material cost. Hence, we need to assign this cost element to the material master, and we need to assign the secondary cost element to your activity type. Okay, and this cost element is nothing but your GL account. So same GL account we need to just define as a cost element, either primary or secondary. If I'm creating as a primary, then it has to be assigned to your raw material. If I'm creating secondary, it has to assign to your activity type. You cannot assign secondary cost element here and expect the cost to flow here. Otherwise, or the costing and results will not get correctly, captured, right? That's the reason when I'm creating the GL accounts, we need to define what are the different kind of raw materials available. For that raw material, we used to create the valuation class. Those who are actually working on the controlling or finance model, they must know how GL accounts has been created and it has been converted as a primary or secondary cost element, and it has to assign to your raw material. This part is totally finance. Okay, guys, don't get confused. You no need to worry about that. But if you want to be expert on the product costing, you should know this. When we will configure this, then you will come to know how it has to be configured and how it has been interlinked. I'm just going some different way how actually we will configure reverse pattern. Okay, now GL account is there. Now when I need a GL account, I need to define that GL account somewhere, and that is nothing but your controlling area. For that controlling area, okay, we will define the different GL accounts. That different GL accounts will be considered or created as a separate cost element based on your design, what kind of activities you require. Let's say you require only two activities, machine activity, labor activity, you will create two secondary cost element. But you have a different cost element, and for raw materials, you need to have a different consumption accounts, like consume to the production order, consume to the cost center, consume to scrap, consume to customer. So these many kind of GL accounts will be created as a primary cost element. That GL account will be assigned to your material via valuation class, and this secondary cost element will be assigned to the cost center via activity types and price planning, and that cost center will be assigned to your work center. Ultimately, it will come to your product costing. So the blue part is the PP part. This part is totally controlling. Now the same way, what I'll do here to understand more, I'll put some transaction code. This controlling area is the totally configuration part. So I'm not giving this. This is the master data, but this is the customization. So when we will start creating our company code, we need to create controlling area. This is totally customization, but this is the master data. For that, I'll just give the transaction code also, how we used to create. How to create cost element and secondary cost element, and this thing, same transaction code. We need to define the GL account by FS00. And there also you just go and tell the system, okay, this is my secondary cost element, this is my primary cost element. You need to assign the element type, okay, for that. Then first thing you have to define this controlling area, then GL accounts, then cost element, then you need to define the activity type and assign that cost element to that activity type. How to create the activity type in the system? By KL01 transaction, where you will say it's my setup activity. Once you are going to the system say, okay, this is setup activity. I know what is this cost element for that. So if you haven't defined cost element prior to that thing, system will not allow to save you this activity. So the sequence is first GL account, maybe first controlling area is a customization, company code controlling area, then GL accounts, then You need to define the GL account as a cost element and then go and create the activity type. Once activity type is there, then you may need to create the cost center. I'm saying may because this is the parallel activity that you can do. Cost center has been created by KS01. And then you have to define this cost center and this activity type. What is the price? So the transaction code is nothing. This is nothing but my pricing planning, and that will be created by KP26. Once activity type is there with this cost center, then you can go and create the work center. Guys, when you are creating work center without doing this, you cannot activate the costing view. Once you go to the costing view and assign the activity type, system will say, okay, what is the activity type? So it's not a mandatory actually. Still, system will allow you to create the work center, but definitely, it's my personal experience, it will create the inconsistencies in the costing, because it's saying, okay, first your pricing planning has to be happen, then only you should go and create your work center. So in the real implementation, when we are doing the implementation from very scratch, this is the major important part, integration part, that we need to work closely with FICO people or FICO consultant. Before creating work center, we should ask them what is the cost center for that. We should ask them what are the activity pipes for that. And then in the work center, you need to define for this work center, this is my standard value. Is controlling key is called, what is that actually? I just forgot the name. You need to define the that key where your activity types will be automatically pulled in the work center. So this is
Cost
the major.
control keys.
It's not a,
Standard value parameter, you mean?
no. It's not a
No, no,
standard value. It's a
it's a
standard value.
controlling key.
No, it's not. Is a control.
Standard
Cost variant, costing variant.
Costing variant is very, very later pointing. I'll just tell you. It's a standard value key, I guess.
SVK, yeah, SVK.
Yeah. So we need to define it so that your exactly the same activity types will get pulled it here. So before that, if you are going and creating work center, before that, it will not harm. Okay. And later pointing time, you will try to pull the activity types. Then it will create the inconsistency. After production version, there is a very important step. Okay. When you are trying to do this, that time system sometimes give you the error. Okay. And what is that? I'll put it here. Once you are doing this activity, that means you are okay to go live. Anyone has any idea? Now I have created all this master data. I have created all PP master data, CO master data. Now there is one step that is very mandatory. Anyone?
Yes, CK11N.
Yes, CK11N. So this is very key important thing that will come in a picture once you are done with all master data. Because sometimes, let's say during master data upload, you could have uploaded wrong BOM, wrong material quantity and something, but you never know whether it is wrong because you are uploading thousands of BOM at a time, right? But this product cost estimate will come up and it'll say, okay, you are finished material. Let's say you are a car manufacturing company. You have created a very clearly BOM and everything. And let's say there is one car variant for that actual currently the cost is, let's say, 6 lakhs. INR I'm talking about, okay? But if you could have uploaded some wrong things here or wrong things here, then it may say, hey, your car cost is 12 lakhs. And the finance controller will come to, hey, something wrong somewhere. You need to find out. It's not a real value. I'm running my business since last 10 years, and I know my car costs could be at least 6 lakh, 5.5, or in between something. It should not be 12 lakhs or something, right? Then you can easily identify and go into the system and check, hey, what is wrong somewhere there should be wrong. And you can say, oh, this activity price planning rate is something wrong. Or in the bill of material, you have uploaded some wrong quantity of the raw material. Or in the raw material, you have uploaded some wrong value, right? Or in the activity types for the machine hours, you are saying, okay, to manufacture one car, it required only 10 minutes, but by mistake, someone has uploaded as a 10 hours, right? So system do the calculation and give this figure here. So this is a very important thing and major integration point between PP and CO. It's not a PPCO, it's a PPFICO because your raw material costing is also flowing here, right? So it's nothing but CK11N, or I'll say CK40N also. We will run this transaction in real when we will configure the scenario. No need to worry. This is nothing but my PP end-to-end master data. Blue color is the PP master data, and this orange or some this color is it's not orange, I guess. This is my PPCO master, CO master data or FICO master data. Apart from that, maybe FICO people are having some different master data they are doing, but the major integration of PP and CO is this, right? And in the material master, you do have valuation class and this thing. This line will define. So when the people are, or when someone is asking you what is the integration points between PP and FICO, PP module is very tightly and closely integrated with your finance and CO module. Okay, ultimately finance module is the whole which is always integrated with all the modules. But in PP, product costing is the major pain area in every company or any client. That's the reason this PPCO integration you should know in very detail. In our training session, next part, or when we will jump into the system, we will configure all the things from controlling also. Okay, so you know, no need to worry like how to do the controlling area and what is the meaning of that. Definitely we will go and discuss in detail with our PP master data. But before going ahead, I just want to know if you have any kind of doubts on the master data. I'll just give some different color for that. Any questions, guys? Meanwhile,
Yeah, Vishwa here. So
yeah, Vishwa, go ahead.
Are the capacity planned on the work center so that you know how much you are going to manufacture in a week or so? Are the capacities are there?
Yes, definitely. See, this is see when we are talking about the capacity planning, okay, we should know that will be always with the work center. So what is the capacity planning? This is the combination between these two blue points. I'm having one work center and I'm saying this work center capacity is 24 hours. That means I'm running this work center for 24 hours, but I'm running my machine for 3 shifts. And in each shift, I need to stop work center for 1 hour for a lunch, or maybe for dinner, or maybe for a food, right? So the overall capacity of that work center is now 23 hours. Then we are saying, okay, I'm manufacturing this finished material with this work center, and the rate is let's say 1 hour 1 piece. Okay, 1 hour 1 piece is my routing capacity or routing rate. That means at this work center in 23 hours I will be able to manufacture 23 pieces. Okay, now just let's go little back here. Now customer is coming and saying, hey, I need 23 pieces. When you will be able to deliver? Simply system will do the scheduling. Okay, what is the requirement date? Now requirement date is, let's talk about 30th. Then you can say, okay, if customer is requesting for 30th, I can start my production on 29th and I can produce 23 pieces because my capacity is per day 23. Okay, now let's talk the same example. Now let's say there is one other customer who is asking the same finished product for more 23 pieces on the same date. Now, when you are putting this demand, this red I'm talking about demand in the system, what will happen? System will say, okay, how much you required on 30th? Only 23. Yes, I can do produce. You can start your production on 29 and complete it on a 23rd because my capacity is 23. But our standard SAP production planning engine will never look into the constraint. Okay, it will never look already one production order or one plan order I have already planned for some other customer and which is running between 30 and 31st, right? That means my work center is already booked for that capacity. What will happen? After MRP run, system will create one more plan order on the same day saying my machine capacity is available. Yes, you can definitely do and produce and I can be able to fulfill the requirement on 31st. Now let's say that there are two customers asking same product for same quantity, let's say 23, since we are talking about my capacity is 23 on the same day, and my system is saying I am able to fulfill both the customer, but logically it is not possible. I can either only produce 23, correct? So what happened in the system will create MRP, our SAP will create two plan orders on the same date. Now it's planner job to go into the capacity planning table and check it in the capacity planning table, you can see on the same day there are 2 demand coming and 2 plan orders are running, and it will simply show you red signal saying the daily capacity of this line is 23, but the demand is for 26. That means double the capacity. Your capacity has been overloaded. Now it's a planner job. Planner has to look into the 2 different customer demand. He has to check which is the rush demand, which is the priority, which sales order has to manufacture first. Then he will come to know, okay, XYZ customer is the priority order and that we have to manufacture first. Then what planner will do? Planner will do the capacity planning by this table, will do the capacity leveling, and he will pull the plan order for customer second, and it will put it on some other day wherever capacity is available. So the capacity planning is lying for only production planning. I'm not directly integrated with anybody or controlling or directly sales order. Okay, it's with demand and planning. So definitely we have to have a capacity planning for that work center. When we are defining this activity, that time, the same way we do have a capacity tab where we need to define how much capacity, what is the capacity of that work center. Sometimes my machine capacity could be 24 hours continuously, correct? Sometimes I'm having a 24 hours machine capacity, but the same kind of machine I'm having 3 on the floor. In that case, 24 into 3 equal to 48 plus 23. So that way system will do and calculate your capacity, right? So this is the production planning part. It's not directly integrated with your controlling, but definitely that will be available in SAP. For that, when you in the PP master data, when you are creating work center, you have to define the capacity. So there are so many things. It's not only the capacity. You have to define the factory calendar, right? Like my work center should not be planned on weekdays, sorry, weekends. My work center should not be planned on 31st of December, right? So that way we need to define the factory calendar. We need to assign it to the work center, scheduling parameters, different formulas, so many things from PP side that we need to define and assign it to the work center.
So you are saying capacity planning is there, but constraint planning is not there, right?
Yes, constraint planning is there in SAP ECC. When we will go to the advanced planning, for that we will discuss for the PPDS. In PPDS, we do have that constraint planning. So that's what I was talking here.
But not in okay,
Not
now it is
not
in
in
part of
SAP.
S4. Yeah,
That is available in APO. Now
Mhm.
APO after in S4 HANA, that is available in SAP IBP.
Okay.
But in SAP PP module specifically, constraint planning is not there. That was the major drawback we discussed in the our demo session. I'll just give you one more example since you asked, and then we will move ahead. Okay, let's say the same example I already discussed in our demo. Let's say I'm having one machine. Okay, and on the same machine I can manufacture 3 different products. Okay, but when the demand is coming for all the 3, system will not able to identify which product has to start first, right? System will say, okay, you can start all the products on the same time and get it out, but actually you should start A product first, then B, and then C, right? So there should be have some formula. Like if I'm transferring my machine from A product to B product, I could take 10 minutes of setup time. From B to C, it is 10. But if I'm directly transferring from A to C, it could take only 5 minutes. So based on that calculation, system has to tell, okay, start first A, then C, and then B, correct? But that kind of planning is not happening in your MRP. For that, you need to have a IBP module.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One more question before you move further. So this product costing is really good. I understood it. Only thing I have not understood is consumable cost, like the cost of a coolant, cost of a cutting tool, carbide tool.
Correct.
So where is that consumed?
It's
Where
very
is
good,
that?
very good question. Okay, it's a typically business decision. Okay, sometimes business is saying, hey, my consumable part should be a part of bill of material. Okay, and that should directly get allocated to your product costing. So when you are saying raw material, we have one more consumables also, right? You need to create the consumable materials as a raw material, and you need to assign it to the bill of material so that the consumable, however, whatever consumable material you are using, that will get allocated there. But sometimes business is saying, hey, I don't really understand, or I don't really getting correct combination how much consumable will be used for each product. That formula is not with me. I'm having barrel from where I'm continuously getting issued, and after 1 month that barrel is getting consumed, but I don't know on which product how much it has been consumed. Correct. In that case, what we used to do, we used to create the consumable product separately. We used to put this product in the bill of material even. Okay, but we will say is not relevant to costing, or there is a separate scenario actually basically for consumable products. What we used to create, we are saying, okay, since you don't know how much you use for each product, but at the month end you definitely know how much you produced, then you're saying, yeah, I know total 1000 finished product I produce. That means to produce 1000 you consume whole one barrel of, let's say, 1000 liter of that consumable product, right? Now the question is, what is the cost of 1000 liter? And that should get, bifurcate and distribute to all the product equally, because I don't know the combination, right? For that we used to create some separate overheads also. Okay, how it works, because that in that kind of scenario, what we used to create, we used to create the material overheads. We used to put that overhead cost separately, and when we actually issue the material, system used to calculate the exact overhead costing and put it same like the activity types: machine, labor, setup. There will be one more overhead, labor, material overheads, that kind of things that you can put it here, and you can pull the cost through overheads also. So in the product costing, I'll just give you an example here. In the product costing, FG1 to produce, to FG1 to produce FG1, I need raw material 1 of $10, raw material 2 of $10, then setup activity, I'm saying activity 1 as per rate, let's say $10. Also, I'm having one more activity, let's say activity 2 of, let's say, $10, and system will do the overhead overhead 1, $10. So this overhead is nothing but my material overheads. So when I'll do the cost estimate, system will say, okay, raw material this plus this is 30, 40, 50. My finished material standard cost is 50. That's how system calculate through overheads. Or if I don't have overheads, I don't want to create the material overheads, remove it and add that material in the bill of material. In the bill of material, put down how much you are using for each product. You can say raw material 3 as a consumable, okay, RM3 as a consumable. Oh, sorry, RM3 as a consumable of cost 10. That is also possible, right? So you can pull your consumable material cost to bill of material, as well as you can create a separate overhead activity and you can pull it. But it's not assigned to your work center. Okay, overheads will have a separate kind of calculation. There we have three different kind of things, like we can pull that kind of cost through routing also, but that will impact on your scheduling. If I'm putting that activity in the routing, my capacity and that will get some calculated separately. For that we need to tell, okay, this activity is only for costing and not for the scheduling. Or we have a overhead percentage base and quantity base also. We can create a overhead activity as a material overhead. Okay, and for that material overhead we can tell what is the percentage of allocation, right, in the controlling customization. From there also system will do the product cost estimate and pull up the material overhead cost. Sometimes we used to get labor overheads, okay, because we are not knowing exactly how much labor is used to produce one finished product. That time, instead of putting a labor activity here in the routing separately, we used to create a labor overhead separately. Or sometimes, if you've taken a very good example, I need a power. Okay, power is one of the raw material kind of things, or it's a continuously using on the shop floor. But I never know exactly how much power is used to manufacture one product, right? So power is the consumption, but I don't able to pull that consumption over there. But I know how much of power has been used for whole month, correct? Because in the month end, MSCB may be giving me a bill of this many rupees, and I want to distribute that power equally to all the product. And that is how your consumables or powers or overheads getting calculated and put it in our product cost estimate. You got
Yeah.
it?
So yeah, so you are saying it can be on the BOM or it can be through the activity type,
Yes,
right?
it's not an
Yeah.
activity. It's a activity, but it's not a production activity. It will be a overhead activity. It's a
Yeah.
separate
And
overhead activity. Yeah.
yeah,
And
and that activity is not assigned to the cost center and then work center, right?
no, it will not be assigned to that cost center which is actually here used in the work center. There should be a work center. Okay. Otherwise, system will not do calculate. There will be a separate cost center saying overhead cost centers. Okay. Or production cost centers, production overhead cost centers. And for
Mhm.
that also the same KP26, what you are doing, the same kind of planning you need to do. I guess KA06 or something. I'm no, not KA06. It's different transaction code where you need to do that planning. Okay. KAZZ something transaction is there. Okay. Where you need to define, okay, for this overhead, what is the different kind of rates? And when you run the cost estimate, product cost estimate, system will explore the BOM, system will explore the activity, and in your cost structure, you may have defined different overheads. Okay. That will also get pulled and it will get calculated.
I
Okay.
just want to add one thing, like
Hmm.
want to ask one thing. So instead of, as you are saying, that instead of entering the overhead activity value in while
Mhm.
doing the confirmation in the costing itself, in CK11 itself, we'll add a one component that is the overhead, and that
Mhm.
will be the fixed percent, like a 2%
Yes.
or the work percent of
Yes.
the product cost, right? This
So
is the way
that's
you
true.
are telling me.
Correct. 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 And after your production, okay, system. So how actually in actual, see, on today's date you are giving the fixed percentage. So when you are allocating, doing the cost estimate, system will allocating one fixed
Yes, a
value to your
percentage of the
product.
value
Yes.
of
Yes.
total value. Yeah.
But in the month end, it could be something different, right? The overhead
Correct.
calculation could be something different. So in the production order, when production order is actually getting costed, system used to check the date on which date actually you issued the raw material to your production order. Okay. And for that date, system used to calculate the overhead rates and put it in your actual production order cost. Then when you do the settlement, okay, that time what system will do, system used to check what is actually issued and what is your target means what, when you actually run the product cost estimate before go live on the first day. Okay.
So basically, like means if
Target.
I created a production order on 20th of October, might be
Okay.
the cost of the material will be different. The target cost
Correct.
may be different. But
Correct.
when I issued the material, let's say on 23rd of October, the
Yes.
moving price may get
Price will be
upgraded or might
20.
get
Correct.
up. So
That's
that
true.
they means
That's right.
it will calculate the variance, right? You are
Oh
saying.
yeah. Correct. Correct. So okay, since you asked that question, what I'll do, we have a very detailed session on that. Okay. That time I'll definitely explain, but I'll just give you an example with the same one. Okay. Now on 1st of January, we are running the cost estimate. And as per that, system is saying my target cost is 50 because this is the moving average price and this is the activity that time. On 2nd Jan, you create the order. That time system pull this thing and there is no fluctuations. Just take an example. System will say, okay, you need to do GRN with 50 and this is the raw material cost. Okay. Then on 5th Jan, you actually started issuing. And that time you said, okay, I issued exactly same quantity, but moving average price has been changed to 15. So system issue the 50 to that order. Okay. Here also it changed to 50. Here also it changed to 50. Just take an example so that you will understand. Here, your activity, you are defining a fixed rate for one period, right? So it's saying, okay, it's 10-10 only. Now on 5th Jan, you complete the order and you did a good receipt with 50 because this finished material is on a standard price. And when you are doing any movement, system used to check the price of that material at that point in time. And that price is 50 in the material master, right? Now, what is the situation for that order? If you see here, the situation is for this production order, total GR is of 50 rupees or $50. What is the actual issue? Actual issue is 1530, 30, 45, 55, 65. That means you are running your this specific production order with $15 loss. And this is nothing but your variance. When you run KO88 in the system and run the settlement, system will put this variance on your variance account, and that will be moved to your COPA profitability analysis, where the planner or controller can easily find out, okay, this is the production order where there is a variance of 50. Why? He will come, he will deep dive to the order and he'll say why that $15 variance is. It could then he'll come to know, okay, there is a fluctuations of price between this date to these dates, and that's why that variance is there. Then he will say, okay, in that case that is fine, that but we need to have more control on the raw material fluctuation. There should not be a raw material fluctuation. He will go to the procurement department and he'll say why there is a fluctuations in the raw material. Then procurement department or the people will say, okay, this vendor was not ready to give me this material with this price and he broke on the agreement or something. Then he'll say, okay, what is the YY for that? Okay, go and change the vendor, right? From the next month onwards, you will have a 50 rupees production order, and actual could be also 50, and then there is a no variance. So that's how
But
actually yeah.
yes, sir, sorry, but the actual cost of the production order, if you check the actual cost, that will be
Mhm.
65, right? It means that the product
Yeah. No, no,
convert cost, right?
no. Actual cost means actual goods issue, actual goods issue. Sorry, goods receipt. The
Correct.
actual goods receipt of that production order will always happen with $50. Because when you are running Migo, that production order and that finished product, what system will do? System will not check how much you have issued to that production order. System will check what is the finished material price. Finished material standard price is 50, so you will do it 50, and it will do the analysis. Okay, when you will go to kkbc underscore ord or in COR3, you will come to know for this order actual issue is 65, but GR is with only 50. That means you are running this order with something loss. It could be vice versa also. Goods issue is let's say 45 sometimes due to raw material fluctuations. Okay, and GRN is with 50. That means you are running this order with profit 5. That's what you used to get with this product costing and product cost analysis. How actually it works? Let's say the same example, there is a raw material fluctuations, right? And that's the reason my actual goods issue happen with 65, right? But now this the vendor who is providing me this raw material, he's saying, okay, from this date I'm going to supply this raw material only with 50. I'm not going to supply this raw material with 10U. That means in the next month, next 2nd Feb, when you will again rerun the cost estimate, system will change the standard price of this finished material to 65 directly. And that's why we used to have cost estimate run quarterly. Some companies are running monthly even, to have a minimum variance, to know the what is the profitability analysis and whether we really running our material company in profit and loss. Just take an example. I'm having a finished material of car, so we are saying my sell car price is let's say 5 lakhs. Okay, I'm here on a 5th January. Okay, 1st January we run the cost estimate. Finished metal price is 5 lakh, and that is actually my sales price. Just take an example. With profit margin for 50, it could be 5.5 is the sales price. Now on 5th, raw material has hugely fluctuated, and that's why my actual manufacturing cost goes above 6 lakh. Okay, that means we are running. Still, we are selling this, to the customer with 5.5. You cannot simply go and every day you can change your customer price just because of you are not able to do these things. What we used to do, we used to set this 5 lakh standard price for a specific period, and we used to analyze whether we are running profit and loss. Okay, if it's really going in the loss, in the next month onwards we will do again cost estimate and define your finished material price instead of 5 lakhs 6 lakhs, and we can tell to customer from next month onward, I'm not going to sell this material with 5.5. My sales price will be 6.5. You can get it from, otherwise you can get it from somewhere else. Otherwise, my company is running in a loss. That's how the finance controller used to do the profitability analysis with this product cost estimate, basically. Are you getting what I'm trying to explain?
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
getting it.
Okay. So
Okay, let's. I
yeah.
just want to take another example, like in a shrimp industry, like fish industry or shrimp industry, they're consuming the water in a in the very large quantity because it's a
Mhm.
shrimp manufacturing company. So means the water we need to take it in a consumable, or we need to take it as a part of a raw material?
Okay, very simple answer for that.
Yeah.
There are two things. When you are saying consumable, that means there are two ways. Whether you want to book the cost of that material to your finished product. If the water cost is very less and you really don't want to book the cost of that raw water to on your finished material, in that case, don't say it's a consumable or something. It's just a raw material, okay? And it's just separate material type. You should say whether this raw material should be bulk or not consumable. See, anyway, if it is consumable, you need to buy based on the planning, how much liter you need to buy, So you need to do the material requirement planning for that, right? That means don't say it's a consumable or something, just say it's a bulk or not. If you are putting it as a bulk, it will not consider the cost. If you are saying it's not no bulk, it will consider the cost. Now come next to your consumables. Now consumables means what? In the SAP we do have a different kind of planning. It's one is VB based planning, one is PD based planning. Now what is VB and what is PD? It will actually see the consumption based planning. Okay, consumable materials normally will not be planned based on your finished material requirement. I'm just giving you a very simple example for that. Let's say I'm manufacturing car, and to manufacture car, I do have so many raw materials, but I need small screws and nuts. Okay, to manufacture one car, I cannot tell. Okay, to manufacture one car, I need let's say one type of screw is 100. Okay, one screw type is 100. So when I'm manufacturing, let's say 100 cars, system should go multiply by 100 and it will show, okay, requirement of this much, right? Sorry, this much. Go and create a purchase requisition. I want this consumable part should always be in the stock. Okay. And whenever my stock is going, so my consumption pattern is per month, I used to, use this 1,000 or 10,000 part for manufacturing. So what we used to do, we used to tell system, okay, don't look into the demand, don't look into the production plan. Just look, my inventory should not fall below 500. So let's say now current stock is, let's say 10,000. Okay. Now you start consuming this part. You are not planning through MRP. That's mean you are not planning through this bomb and MRP run. Although it's a MRP planning, but you are not planning based on your finished material demand now. Now let's say for the consumable part, let's say it's a water. You have this much of stock. Okay, then daily, it start come down. Now once it goes down here, system will come to know, okay, the stock has been go down below reorder point, right? Go and purchase it for 10,000, 100,000 something. Again, it will do the same thing. Once it's go down, it will automatically purchase. So this is actually the consumption based planning. So when you are talking my material is consumable, that means you are not actually planning your raw material based on your finished material requirement. You are planning the raw material, the specific raw material based on your consumption pattern. Your consumption pattern is like that. If it goes below 500, that is fine. But if it goes below 300, you may end up with no stock situation. So it's called safety stock. Okay, 300 is safety stock, 500 is reorder point. So whenever stock is going below 500, system should automatically go and purchase. It should not look into whether I'm having some demand or not or something. Now, if you are talking about water is having very less value, but it's a critical product, right? And you should purchase the water from the vendor when it is going below some specific level, not based on your finished material demand, how much you are going to produce. That kind of planning is called consumption based planning. That kind of material is called consumable material. This is only a raw material for me. Only the way of planning is something different. Let's talk about the raw material water, which is going specific level, then I am purchasing. There is some other raw material, let's say salt. Okay, that salt I'm not planning like this way. That salt I'm planning, if I am having a demand of 1000 kg fish, salt should be 1000 kg. If I'm having a demand of 2000, salt should be a 2000. So when I'm getting a demand from customer for 2000, system will go and check the stock. If stock is not available, system will create the purchase requisition for 2000. But in the case of water, Although I'm having a requirement of 2000, system will not go and create the purchase requisition. System will check whether stock is below the 500. If yes, then system will directly create the purchase requisition of 10,000 and not 2000, because this is my maximum reorder point, or replenishment point.
Will it be okay? Because see, water is a running means a running product, means we cannot store it sometimes when it is coming through pipe. So what kind of a material type we need to keep, like a raw
So
material
there
or the
is
pipe
no. There is a pipe raw material also available.
pipeline?
Okay,
Yeah,
the
pipeline
pipeline
material.
also available. But
Okay.
if you are really purchasing from the vendor as a raw material, okay, and how much you see, this is the same example like power. Okay,
Yes, correct.
when you are purchasing the power, you never know. I mean, how much power you are going to require for this much. So it's a daily consumption, and at the month end, you will come to know this much power you have been used. For that, this kind of scenario, SAP also recommends one scenario like Kanban. Okay, we will discuss in very detail. Okay, Kanban. This is we are going to cover in the our basic course. What is that? So what we used to do, we know how much. Let's say it's a tanker. Raw material is coming. Your water is coming in the tanker, and every day you need 2 tankers. Okay, every day you need 2 tankers to manufacture or to run your line. Now you can create a Kanban between your vendor and your company for raw material water, while creating 4 tankers as a trolleys. So whenever your first tanker get finished, automatically one PO will go to the your vendor. Is called as a Kanban board, where vendor will easily understand, like, okay, the Kanban is of 4 tankers, daily consumption is 2 tanker. Now you have finished 1 tanker, that means now only 3 tankers available with you, and it's my moral own responsibility, it's a vendor responsibility to get replenish one more tanker and get it give it to you, so that you will never end up with a raw material shortages, and your production will continuously run. You know, you can create raw material, your water as a raw material only in between vendor, that is a supplier, and your company. You can set a Kanban for it.
Okay.
Okay, so once we will run this kind of scenario, you will able to identify and understand, and then you are the right person who are actually discussing with your business, and you can easily understand, okay, these are the best practices or these are the best scenarios that you can implement. Then you can have you can showcase that scenario to the customer. That is called your agile methodology basically, or that is called your new activate methodology,
Active
where
method.
yeah, you can tell customer, okay, these are the different scenarios, this is how also it will fulfill, this is how. There is a reorder point planning also, there is a Kanban planning also, there is a raw material stock requirement planning by PD, like how much requirement this much system will go and ask you. There is one more thing, in the lot size also you can plan the material. Okay, let's say for today the requirement is, let's say, only 300 liter, but tanker is having 500 quantity. Okay, when we are purchasing, you are purchasing one whole tanker of 500 kg, right? So you can set a fixed lot size. If requirement is 300, system will create a purchase requisition for 500. If requirement is 400, system will create a purchase requisition for 500. If requirement is 700, system will create 2 purchase requisition for 500 plus 500. That's how also you can do the
A fixed
planning.
lot size, you are saying.
Yes, yes, yes. So different ways of planning. It's not just whether I should create. See, when you are saying it's a consumable, it's again a raw material for me. It's a bought out part for me. So you should understand what is the consumable, what is the raw material, what is the bulk. Bulk is what? Is a raw material I am purchasing from the outside. Since the cost of that material is very less, and I really don't want to, put the cost of that raw material on my product, is the bulk. When you are saying it's a consumable, that means how you are actually planning. The cost will always go to your product. You can put that material in the BOM, it will capture the cost, right? So consumable and raw material, both cost will be captured in your product. Only how you are actually planning is the way. Whether you should plan on your requirement, or it should plan on your Kanban, or it should plan on the reorder based planning, right? This is called consumption based planning basically. Okay, when we run the scenario, we will try to put 3
Yeah.
different kind of
Oh,
product and we will see it. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, So any questions on master data? Actually, I was planning to cover end-to-end cycle for the production, but no worries, because we need to understand the master data first. This is very important, and this is not a one-time activity. Definitely we will run this kind of master data in each scenario separately, because we need to create it, right? The till our course end, we might be creating 10 times master data for 10 different scenarios. So till time you will get very clear understanding on that. But the scenarios what we are talking about, we will try to cover. If I forget, you just remember me. Okay, pull some consumption based planning material over there. Also try to pull some kanban anyway. For that kanban we are going to run separate scenario, but definitely we will run all that kind of planning scenarios. Okay.
Yeah.
The major
Pankaj,
yeah.
just one question.
Sure.
So is the routing very similar to the task list?
Yes, it's a task list.
Okay.
So
Okay. Just in
see,
the PP
basically,
module, it's called as routing.
Yeah, no, there are basic reasons behind that. Also, you must heard about the rate routing.
No.
So yeah, so when you are implementing the scenario, what SAP is saying, when you are implementing the scenario for discrete manufacturing, you should create the routing with CA01 is called routing. When you are creating the scenario for repetitive manufacturing, you should not use this routing. You should use rate routing by CA21, because in repetitive manufacturing there are some different constraints, and that's why we used to implement repetitive manufacturing, and that's why system SAP recommends us to go ahead with rate routing instead of standard routing. But still, if you try to use this routing, it will not harm. But somewhere if you are trying to manipulate the scenario, system will throw you here, hey, this is the routing and you cannot use it, right? The same way, if you are implementing for PPPI or process industry, then system will say, okay, use recipe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a different transaction code, different name, but ultimately it's a task list, a list of operations that you are maintaining. That's it. So routing is nothing but your task list.
Yeah. Customer service uses task list.
Yeah, yes. Customer services, the routines are different thing, but in manufacturing, if you are saying routing, it could be a routing, it could be a rate routing, it could be a recipe, it could be a task list. It's kind of task list, different types of task lists. Okay.
Yeah.
Once we will
Thanks.
jump into system, definitely you'll come to know. That's not a big. Okay, guys, any questions on the master data? Because I'm going to stop here. Still, we have 10 minutes, but I want to cover whole end-to-end PP cycle the same way in one session, so that you will understand and you can have a different kind of question you can definitely ask. As today's session we spilled over because of the question, but it's good, no problem, no need to worry on that. We will cover our PP end-to-end cycle in the next session on tomorrow, and then we will move ahead with graphical interfaces, graphical user interface, and we will directly start configuring the scenario in the system. Okay. So any question till point, you can ask it. Meanwhile, I'll save this screenshot document. You can unmute and ask your question if you have any kind. Okay, guys. So we will join tomorrow, same time, and we will cover PP end-to-end process flow with make to stock strategy and make to order strategy, so that you will understand the things, and then we will configure the scenario in the system one by one. So whatever we discuss here, whatever we are going to discuss here in tomorrow's session, that we will try to map it in the system. And then for that mapping, we may need to have a different kind of configurations, and it's a big task actually. But before going to the configuration directly, jumping into the configuration, you should know what is the production planning, what is the master data, what kind of configuration is required for that, so that you will be able to correlate the things. Okay. Meanwhile, if you have any kind of question, you can ask, or you can put it your questions on your WhatsApp number, or we do have a forum available there. Also, you can put. Those who still have not enrolled, you can be in touch with our support team, get the help from their end, and you can enroll the session. Okay. Okay, guys. Thanks for today's session. Thanks for joining. We will catch up tomorrow, same time, 7 o'clock IST. Bye-bye for now.